Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to New Jersey Mycological Association's Taxonomy Tuesday. My name's Chris. I'll be your host this evening. Tonight, we'll be looking at best of, so doesn't really matter when you found it. Maybe it was just something you enjoyed finding. Would anybody like to share from their machine? We could have one that I could share real quick. I just loved finding this, the color of it. This was up at Swartzwood.
Oh yeah, that someone found that at Stokes, right, Dave? Isn't that the one you took home?
I don't think I took it home, but
I did.
yeah, was it this or was it a different species? I know it was like pink. It was a pink polypore.
There's a different name floating around for this thing.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's not cajanderi, it's the other one. I forget it too. But yeah, we found this at Stokes last year, and I took it home. I preserved the specimen, to get it eventually into the NGMA herbarium.
Where did
But not this one. This one is from Swartzwood. I've never been there before with a club.
what was this growing on, Chris?
I was growing on conifer, and I remember when I brought it here to Taxonomy Tuesday, we looked at a couple different people's finds, and they turn real black when they're spent. They kind of like go through a change. They start out the real pink color, and then they start developing more of this look here, this brown, slightly banded there. And then they turn all the way black. And there was black ones all over the logs. I didn't know what they were. I collected this thinking it was something different. But the patch where I found this, it must be very abundant.
I want to find that.
Yeah, I really liked I didn't know that color was an option to have
Yeah.
out there, but why not?
It looks like we called it Fomitopsis rosea at Stokes. If it's the same thing, I found the observation I put on Mushroom Observer, and I can put that into the chat. And no
Cool.
one challenged the ID. So I'm just going to paste that right into the chat now, the link. So
Let's
that's the
see.
one we found at Stokes.
And I can post my observation of the same specimen too. Yeah, it was from the
Shrink my
24th of
screen.
August.
Oh, there we are. Oh wow, look how pink the upper surface still is. Those were fresh, huh?
Yeah, they were quite pink. It was I had never seen anything like this previous.
They are still pink.
They're still pink.
Yeah.
So you
They've lost all the moisture, but they're still pink.
you think it is the same as what Chris has?
I can look on Index Fungorum, see if they're synonyms.
Okay.
I can look on Mushroom Observer also, see if they're synonyms.
It's cool. What's the other one?
If they are the same thing, Rosia is the earlier name.
Okay. The undersides look really similar, I think.
Yeah, the pores are very small.
It's interesting that at Index Fungorum, Rhodophomis roseus is the current name, whereas it's deprecated on Mushroom Observer in favor of Fomitopsis. So Rhodophomis roseus versus Fomitopsis rosea.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
were.
the
Mushroom expert says they're synonyms. Michael Quest says they're synonyms. Cajanderi and Rosea.
Okay.
He has them as far. He calls it sub rosea. Michael Quote calls it sub rosea. Well, that's the synonym at least.
Oh.
I wonder if that's so. I wonder if that's the same.
the Bayesian
Not.
for rosea is Boletus roseus from 1805. So it's a really, really old name.
Wolf. Wow. That was the that was the one that did it for me this season. And I found a lot of stuff this year, so
Can you show it again?
they does anybody else want to show from their computer? We got Dave in the email.
Wikipedia says that the Cajanderi and Rosea are similar. It doesn't say they're the same, but Wikipedia is not always right. There's a lot of mistakes in Wikipedia about mushroom taxonomy. But anyway, yeah, we don't have to talk about that polypore all night. We can move on if you like.
Would you like to go, Dave?
Oh, sure, yeah. Look at this nice bolete.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like Boletus huronensis, doesn't it?
Oh,
Is that the is that the same thing?
It's fake.
Yeah, yeah. It's
What's
it
going
was
on?
a Christmas present from my brother. It's it's the habitat where this is found is I don't know, maybe Walmart. I don't know. Look at this one.
That is such a good specimen right there.
Now that's
yeah,
beautiful Clavaria.
yeah. I saw
Is
one
that
just like that.
is that 3D printed?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I
That
got
is
one
quite the
too.
specimen.
For some reason, I thought they were fused earth tongues, not Clavaria,
Now this
given the
one is
color.
Clavaria hunteropsis.
Yeah. Funny. It looks so good in situ like that.
Doesn't it look nice?
Yes. It's really nice.
It was the one day during the past several weeks where there was no snow in my yard, at least one little part of my yard, and it was a nice mossy little part. So
Sweet.
yeah,
That is for sure. What else you got? You got another one?
I think I actually have one. I sent a link to a mushroom observer
You're
observation that I think is interesting, will be interesting to discuss, because there's sort of a subtext here. Um, so this mushroom was DNA identified as Amanita virginiana. And if you do the blast, and in fact, you could do the blast by just on the side panel here on the observation down below, somewhere down there, you'll see in the notes, maybe, I'm not seeing it. But there is a DNA sequence posted for this collection. I think, I forget if I sent this one to Steve Russell or Ohio people, but someone did the DNA, and you should be able to find it here on the observation.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Um,
Well, I'm not a
you know,
member of Mushroom Observer.
oh yeah, so it's you can only do so much then. You know what? You can use the link to iNaturalist, because this I think I put this on iNaturalist also, or I don't know. Are those links to iNaturalist?
Is that
Um, no, those look like, yeah. I do most of my stuff on Mushroom Observer. Um, yeah, so you're not able. Well, anyway, if you, I'll tell you what would happen. Um, if you do a GenBank blast of the DNA sequence for this collection, you get several, like four or five really pretty confident matches called Amanita virginiana. So you might wonder, well, why am I calling it sub-Virginiana 01? Um, this is a problem that comes up with occasionally with sequences stored on GenBank. Apparently, once a sequence is stored on GenBank, it's hard to change the name of it. Because what happened was um, Radulomyces had originally sequenced a collection that he thought was Amanita virginiana, and Amanita virginiana looks an awful lot like this. It's one of these little Caesars. It's an Amanita in section Caesariae, which you usually think of Caesars as being these big, showy, colorful things, except for Spreda. That one's gray. It's kind of somber, but it's big. These guys are really small. So there's three of these really small Caesars that are thought to occur in North America. One is Virginiana. One is, well, one that's documented on Rod's to us's website is Sub-Virginiana, but then he also has this Sub-Virginiana 01, which he apparently had realized after viewing more sequences and getting more data um, to represent Amanita virginiana, that the thing that he had thought was Virginiana doesn't really match the DNA of Amanita virginiana. So he gave this a coded name, Sub-Virginiana 01. And it looks like people are finding this. And the problem is they get sequenced, and the sequence matches Rod's sequence that's labeled Virginiana. And so then the other people who do the sequencing label their um, ITS sequences Virginiana. So I did send an email to Sigrid Jacob, who is one of the people on the team Ohio Mushroom DNA Lab. I also sent an email to Steve Russell letting them know that um, there's a mistaken, erroneously labeled sequence on GenBank. So the funny thing is, people seem to be finding this thing and not Virginiana. But there's a third player in this discussion. There's another Little Caesar called Amanita pachyperma, which basically means large spores. And these guys have really large spores. In fact, you can see here over on the side panel spores 12 to 17 by 10 to 12. That might be the biggest spores of any Amanita that I know. So could this be pachyperma? Well, the description of pachyperma is a little bit different than this, I think. I think maybe the color of the cap is described a little differently. But colors in genus Amanita, colors are not always the most useful distinguishing feature for a species. So I wonder if this could actually be pachyperma. And I found this a few times. Not only, this one was like 2 miles from my house, on a trail through mixed woods, and looks like there's a lot of pine needles there, but this was mixed woods. Yeah, oak, hemlock, white pine, probably some other kinds of trees there too, but those were the most dominant. But I found this same species in Cape Cod, on the edge of a field near an oak forest. And I think I have one other observation of this sub-Virginiana 01. So the sort of the subtext here is that getting a match on GenBank does not always settle the taxonomy for a given collection, because for several different potential reasons, there are mistakes on GenBank. And I think it's my understanding that once an accession is made to GenBank, it's hard to change anything about it. There's like a lot of hoops to jump through to change any of the metadata or the label that it's housed under. So that's the story here. And plus, this is just a pretty cool observation too. I mean, these are really interesting little mushrooms. These are in section Caesarea, but look at the size of them. It's
So
not even,
little.
yeah, not even two, but less than the 2 pennies side by side. So
Are the other two, I mean, is there enough taxonomic overlap for there to be confusion?
yes, I think so. I think so. They're all small. They're all, they all have these striate cap margin, a rather small basal vulva, a ring, a partial veil that forms a ring, but it's not terribly persistent. I think all 3 of those species, Virginiana, Subvirginiana, and Pachyperma, are all pretty similar. The cap colors might be reported a little bit differently, but some of these things were, documented a long time ago before there was DNA or anything like that. And also another thing about amanitas is spore dimensions can vary a fair amount, even within um, a single specimen, depending upon where the spores were obtained from, either close to the stipe or close to the margin. Sometimes the dimensions will vary. These are pretty big spores, though. So I wonder, could this sub-Virginiana 01 actually be pachyperma? And I'm not sure. I think I did check to see if there's any sequences for pachyperma. I'm going to check right now, actually.
Hmm.
So I'm going to look on Rod's website and see if he has a sequence for pachyperma. At least, well, at the time that Rod's website now is called Toolabs, toolabs.com or .org. I forget. But it's basically an old version of amanitaceae.org, just made into a different website that I guess is a little bit more secure because the old one kept getting hacked. But anyway, I'm going to look on Toolabs, and I know that Pachysperma is there. I want to see if he's got any sequences posted for Pachysperma. It's an Atkinson species, so it's been around for a while. And GenBank numbers, I see nothing. No data available in table. So there's basically, let me look on GenBank and see if they have anything called Pachysperma. I kind of doubt it because Radulomyces would be the originator of.
Dave, can you put a link to the new
Yeah, I'll do that.
lab?
I'll paste it in. Yes,
Yeah,
I will paste that in a minute.
get there.
I just want to look in GenBank for a second here.
Guess if
See if
anybody
there's
finds amanitas that look like that, they'll have to save them for a sequence.
oh god, yeah, these little Caesars are very interesting, and I think they're probably not all that well understood. Pachysperma, no items found. Did I spell it correctly? I think so. Because sometimes I misspell things. Yeah, it looks like I spelled it correctly, and there are no sequences on GenBank called Pachysperma. So what do I think? I think this subvirginiana thing is probably Pachysperma. That's what I suspect. Um, anyway, let me put that link in for you.
Well, it's an interesting mushroom for sure.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Yeah, I'm not even sure I found that. That might have been last year. That or well, 2 years ago. That may have been 2024. But I found it a few times. I found it also. My brother owned a house for a while, maybe about 5 miles from where I live, and I believe the same species was also found on his lawn, where there were hemlock trees and oak trees nearby. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put this into the chat. There it is. Toolabs.com.
Thank you.
Sure.
Cool. Thank you, Dave.
Oh, sure. You're welcome. I didn't realize it was best of tonight. But that's okay. See if
If you got
anybody
a
else has
favorite you
any.
want to throw in, you just go right ahead. About it. Anybody else got something they enjoyed? Hunter, do you want to feel up to going?
I could try. I tried going to that website though, and I got the screenshot that I'm putting in the chat. Uh, Um, so I don't know. It's that site. Maybe I have to go on Safari or something to get there.
What happened here?
I hope these might be too big. I it might be too big. This might not work.
Oh, wow. What are we looking at here?
Well, we are looking at hold on. Sorry. Yeah, so this is Radulomy Radulomyces copelandii, and it has another similar sounding name, uh, but this is one of the names they're calling it, and these photos are too big. They're not going to work well. I I got a Mac, and I'm having some issues. My photos aren't really on the Mac yet. These are black trumpets, and this was one of the best years for me to find these. That's in a spot just 15 minutes from my house this year, and visited it quite a few times, and it was wonderful. And so that's a good 2025 pick for me. But that one that we were looking at before, I did want to talk a little bit more about. I saw it in New Jersey, with Lila actually, and she has an amazing picture of it, which I don't think she ever showed the group, but unless I wasn't here. But a this is a invasive mushroom. It's called is it the Asian beauty or something?
Asian
Um,
beauty.
Yeah.
yeah, the Asian beauty, and it's sort of similar. There's similar concerns about it as there are to the golden oyster. Somewhat similar. And I'm wondering, I don't know if you guys remember 2 weeks ago, I showed what I was calling Orpicoporus. It was kind of a long-toothed looking lion's mane or comb tooth like fungus that I found in Mississippi, and I was calling it Orpicoporus, and then I think Brandon was calling it something else. I can't think of what offhand. I should be able to, but I'm just not doing that well. But in retrospect, I'm wondering if it actually could be this, because although this doesn't look very much like what I found 2 weeks ago, what I showed other pictures online did. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if anyone remembers that photo, but I can bring it back maybe next week. Sorry, this is so
But that
huge.
one had like a shelf type
Yeah,
of look to it. Like this
yeah,
is this
yeah.
uh
Right. This one's more
is this
like,
growing like up?
yeah.
I just
Can you open?
popped my
Oh,
observation of this same specimen in the chat if you want to
thank
open that
you.
one.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful picture that Lila has of this. But yes, no, it's in this case, it's not shelf-like at all. But if you look it up online, some of the other photos that people posted or that are naming the Asian beauty are more shelf-like.
Yeah, usually it's like a resupinate patch of spines. And this one here is unusually branched. Um, the spines are branched a lot. Um, and I have an observation of what I ID'd as Radulomyces copelandii. Somewhere, I have it somewhere online on Mushroom Observer that I think I didn't even think that's what it was at first, but I think somebody else suggested, and then there were other people who agreed. So usually Radulomyces copelandii are just these spines that are they're all connected to like this resupinate um, patch on a tree, dead tree usually. Um, this one looks kind of unusual though.
Yeah, how big is this patch?
I don't recall it being super big. But yeah, it was unusual in this more vertical branching. I can't remember if there was any of the more resupinate looking examples on there, but it was pretty interesting.
There's some real undersea stuff.
I had never heard of it before, so Lila taught it to me, and I appreciate that and learning this new mushroom in 2025.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes and my observation said it was growing on top of a log, not on the side where we normally would see it or underneath.
Well, the log could have been moved. Um,
Yeah.
and in fact, that might account for the strange branching,
Mm-hmm.
because perhaps the fungus started producing fruit bodies, and then the log got moved, and so the orientation caused the fruit bodies to seek out a different direction.
Yeah. It could be something entirely different too, though.
It could be. There are a few things that are similar to Radulomyces copelandii, and I think that at least one or two of them have spores that are very similar as well. So if you
Yeah.
get spores from Radulomyces copelandii, they are nearly round. So they're
Oh, okay.
subglobose, sometimes globose, and I think like 7 microns wide, something like that. Let me see.
Hmm.
Well, anyway, that's
Yeah. All right. Well, next
yeah.
year I'll see if I can find it again and
I
scope it.
think one of the features of Radulomyces copelandii that separates it from this other thing that looks like it, and I forget the name of the other thing. Um, Radulomyces copelandii has it's like the spines are connected to a patch that's a resupinate patch that spreads, and usually I think you can see a little bit of the border of the patch extending beyond where the spines are on the substrate. I'm pretty sure I have this that's right, and it's not backwards. It's not the other thing I'm talking about, but well, let me see. I think probably this is going to be on a mushroom expert. So let's see if there's a description there.
I'm putting my observation from 2 weeks ago back um in the chat. Because I did see some online that sort of, and I'm still wondering if it could be this mushroom.
And you're thinking this is the same thing?
Possibly. Possibly. I mean, if you Google it, it's that's you'll see stuff like this.
Huh. Yeah, these seem so orderly,
Yeah. Um,
whereas these seem like pure chaos.
yeah. And I just see both of them. I see it when I mean, well, and yeah, and then yeah, I mean, just the quick Google entry. There's yeah, 5 or 6. The pictures all look kind of somewhere in between both of my pictures. There's some leaning more towards the one I emailed, and then there's some leaning more towards the one in the chat. So I don't know, but this is just like I guess, Google AI pictures.
That's crazy. Because in Lila's photos, like this type of area, that in between area was like more It's got like a slimy look to it.
Yeah.
These seem. And what were you calling these ones before?
Oh, well, I've always been calling them, which ones? The one in the email I sent, the big
The
one?
one from the chat.
Oh, the one from the chat, I was calling her Picoporus, and then or Picoporus, uh oh gosh. Um Sorry, just, uh I was calling it her Picoporus, but that's that's it's
Hmm.
been questioned. I don't think that's what it is. Or Picoporus pachyodon, Spongiopellis pachyodon. But then I think Brandon was suggesting, was it like a Geronia or something, or uh,
Entrodia.
and Trodia, and I just don't think it really looks like that. The one on in the chat, I don't think it looks like Antrodia. I don't really think it is, but yeah, I don't think that's what it is at all. Uh,
Hmm.
so then this came up today. I was like, oh well, maybe it could be this.
I put a link to Mushroom Expert page for Radulomyces copelandii, and in fact, it is true that the spines grow from what they call a subiculum, um, a thin layer of tissue that spreads across the wood in resupinate patches. So I was right. That's one of the things that distinguishes Radulomyces copelandii from there are a few other things that form little spines on wood. Um, oh, there's that Ocratia thing. What's that one's orange though, yellowish orange. Um, what's the genus for that thing? I forget. Anyway,
Termites? No.
no, it's not. And what was the other thing you said, Hunter?
Or Picoporus, or a trody, a, what is it? A tro.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, there's well
Tronia.
the thing I'm thinking of. It doesn't really look like Radulomyces copelandii. It's just it forms spines. But I forget that Ocratia is the species name. I forget the genus.
Hmm.
Stecturinum. Stecturinum. Ocratia.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a resupinate thing that it forms like small spines. They're not as big as these, and it's kind of orange or yellow. These are kind of white, yellow. Sometimes they're
uh,
yellow.
Bacterianum bordeaux.
Ocratia.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the other one is a polypore. It has like pores. Um,
oh, okay.
but Ocratia has
Oh,
the
I see.
hymenium as spines, but they're small. They're not as long as the spines of Radulomyces copelandii.
Oh, yeah.
And let me see, what does it say about the spores? Yes, up to 7 microns. Globose to subglobose, 5 to 7 microns. Right.
So I did get the spores on the one in the chat, and I posted them on iNet. Um, so, and I if I remember correctly, I think they were pretty globose. But I don't know about the size for sure. But yeah, I'll put that in the chat a little bit later. Maybe you can peek at those before the end and see if you think it could be this one.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, so then black trumpets, that was good this year. And yeah, I'm so sorry. These pictures are so huge. This is
Were those black trumpets found under some sort of conifer? It looks like pine needles in the.
it's a white pine oak mixed wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is because uncommonly I have found a type of black trumpet here in Pennsylvania, usually under conifers, that has white spores, unlike the orange spored Craterellus fallax. That's the
Yeah.
common black trumpet of eastern North America. And I've never had them sequenced or anything like that. And it's been a long, long time since I found them. So I don't even have any collections.
I think these had the more peachy orange spores. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean I'm pretty sure. But what is cornucopioides? What are the spores like for that one?
They're white, but I think now they might not even be using that name in California.
Oh,
So that might be like a European species. I don't know the status of that. But
okay,
I know the ones they find out west have white spores. I'm pretty sure.
okay.
Cornucopioides, or I think that might be how you say it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got some butter in the freezer. I think I'm gonna some. I think I'm gonna make a fettuccine with the butter because the butter itself didn't do much for me. Um, so I'll try that, like an Alfredo with that butter, maybe.
Oh,
So
would you
Oh,
put the trumpets in the butter?
yeah, I made a trumpet butter. But then that by
Mm.
itself, just I don't know, it didn't really do much. So for me, on bread or whatever. So I'll try it. I'm gonna try that soon. It's
Man, it does
did
sound
you
good.
use dried black trumpets?
no fresh.
Yeah, I make this cream cheese dip or spread
Oh
with
yeah, did you
black
bring that,
trumpets.
folks?
Black trumpets and green onions and cream cheese and maybe a little bit of wine and some butter. It's really good. But I use dried black trumpets, and I don't put them into the spice mill. I don't want to reduce to a powder. So I use like a mortar and a pestle, and I grind them up. I
Mm,
put them in the oven first. They're already dried, but even if they're perfectly well dried, once they're stored for a while, they start to get a tiny bit flexible. And so I put the dried ones in the oven on like 200 Fahrenheit for just like 10 minutes, and then open the door and turn the oven off and let them sit there another 5 minutes. And you can grind them up pretty nicely with a mortar and pestle. So
mm.
they don't turn to dust, they don't turn to powder. There's still a little bit of texture, and I think it's just works better.
Yeah, that's part of the butter thing. The textures, it's kind of cardboardy, sort of, or I don't know. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe with the pasta it'll get cooked down more. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. We'll see. I'll let you know. But I think you had your dip at Stokes, maybe. You
Oh,
did
I
some.
think maybe I did. Yeah, because sometimes I take that to potlucks.
It was
Yeah, I
good,
probably did.
really good.
It's good. Everybody likes it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can see anything here. See this.
What is that spatula thing you had?
Yeah. I love this. Um, is it? I'm just not doing well right now. Is it?
Spathularia, right?
Yeah.
Spathularia ocracea,
Uh,
Spathularia velutina. And I think
Yes.
there's another
Oh,
genus also,
flavida. There's
Pseudospatularia or
rufa,
something.
flavida.
Flavida, right? Yeah.
Yeah, velutipes. I think this might be velutipes actually, but this is just terrible to. Are you guys able to see it better than me or no?
It's like the picture's
There's a
just
way to
blown
tell
up.
them apart in the field. I forget what it is. It might have something to do with the
Let's
color
see.
of the stock
Chris,
part.
double click on her photos and see what happens there.
What
Or is
happened
it?
here? Whoa!
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you just have to open them up and then
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, but I also think they're extremely large and shouldn't have come to you that way. So I apologize. Much better though. Yeah. Yeah, so and the rufa I found before and was sequenced, but I think this is velutipes. These are from northern Wisconsin, and I just love finding them. I think they're the coolest, really probably the coolest mushroom out there. It's really interesting looking.
How big are these?
Really small. Maybe oh gee, like couple centimeters.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, right there.
What was
Really.
the name you put on those?
Spathularia flavida, probably.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Do we get those here?
I think we do.
That's pretty cool.
I do like those. And then
Holy moly.
this is Hericium coralloides. It's definitely my favorite Hericium, and a really pretty specimen. Um, I believe I found it in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure, but I can't even say for sure. So I have not been feeling well, so I just kind of pulled some photos together, and I can't even access my photos in the right way right now because of my new computer issues. Um, but
Another photo contest entry here. Wow.
Yeah, I'm,
Should be, yeah.
Yeah, that's a beauty. It looks like a fractal.
it is really gorgeous. I didn't remember it being so pretty until I looked at the picture again. And I was like, wow, yeah, just the stage it's in is just
Perfect.
yes, yeah, really gorgeous.
How big? It looks like it was quite large.
It wasn't actually not
No.
no.
Hmm.
I ate it probably maybe 6 inches long. What it's yeah, not that big, unfortunately, but
Okay.
yeah, it does look so.
Um, Hunter, I just want to go back to the last thing.
Yeah.
I think those fairy fans are Spathulariopsis velutipes.
Okay. Veluti.
If you look at the link that I just put into the chat from a mushroom expert,
Yeah.
it is in fact the brown stalk that helps
Mm-hmm.
separate that species from the Spathularia.
Yeah. Okay. Is it Spathulariopsis?
At least that's what mushroom expert has, but sometimes they don't update things, so I don't know how, if that's an old name, but I think that's actually a new name because I think these were all Spathularia,
I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
at one point.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like I haven't even heard of this Spathulariopsis, but yeah, so I think that is new. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, check out the link,
Yeah, I
and you can
will.
see they look just like yours.
Yeah.
It's a brown stalk that goes up into the head of the fruit body, sort of. It
Yeah.
goes right up the middle of it.
And it says Spathularia velutipus is a synonym.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, so that was a nice one. And then I think I just have one more. Yeah, and I just wanted to share this again because this year it was really fun to learn with you guys about this plasmodium. This is a slime mold plasmodium, and uh, I mean, it's just it's crazy. It's really wild, and it was gone 2 days later, completely gone because it travels, it moves quickly, and and so yeah, I had no idea what it was, and I think our slime mold expert filled me in, so it was really neat.
Just out there mowing stuff down. Looks like
Yeah, it's so cool.
is it eating all of that stuff?
I don't know. I, I mean, I don't. Would a slime mold eat that? A fresh green like that? Uh, I don't know. I think it was just maybe in the way.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I love watching those time lapses on that people do with the slime molds. They're like pulsating.
They're very cool to look at under a microscope as well. That was Phil Layton, the late Phil Layton used to bring a slide with those with slime molds on it to Fungus Fest, and you could see fluid enzymes, I don't know what to call it, material inside moving, first in one direction and then stuff moving back the other direction. So it's,
Mm,
sending out things to digest, pulling back nutrients. It's really cool.
How would
really?
he do that? Just take like a chunk of this and pop it on a slide?
Yeah, somehow got it on a slide and um, yeah,
Oh,
just
that's
really
crazy.
cool to look at. So something to try someday.
And I had wanted to add the stick that I showed like 3 weeks ago that Jason labeled like 5 or 6 lichens on it. It's not here. So I'm done with mine. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice. Does anybody else have some stuff? I think Jason was waiting till
I think he just took off
8.
now. He left.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused because he said he couldn't share until after 8, and now he's
Right.
gone.
Yeah, that's too bad. Something must have come up.
Yeah.
Xiang, you got any?
Yeah. It was a good year. Everyone was finding stuff.
Yeah, it- I mean, overall, it was a decent year despite the dry stretches that I know we all had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had its moments.
Yeah.
Not too many and not for too long, in my opinion, but
There
yeah.
we go. Lila sent some in here.
Oh, good.
Oh, how do I?
Sorry, I was using my iPhone. I just don't know how to operate the Zoom. Um, Let me see if I can share any.
This is yours, Lila, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is
Beautiful.
one that was just out just for a walk for exercise and came upon these growing in some mulch. And I got the ID wrong at first. I didn't look close enough and to see the wrinkly aspect to this. But I put this in here because of
Mm,
that. I made a mistake and then I learned from the mistake.
I'm
And
too. Cool.
yeah, and I dug up some eggs. And for the first time, I think I bisected an egg and I also transplanted one to see what would happen if I could get it to grow. So I'll probably forevermore have stinkhorns in my wood mulch at home, but
I've done that too. But
yeah,
we would love it, right? That's a really cool section. Look
yeah,
at that. Wow.
Look like a papaya.
yeah,
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 so cool. And it looks like the egg shapes are a little bit different with this one than the other. They're kind of pointier, like sort of like the head of it as well is kind of pointier.
yeah, yeah. It definitely was kind of
Sharp.
pointed.
Is
Yeah.
this the wrinkled bit?
Yeah, it's also wrinkled under the head. Um, it's hard to see with the gleba on it, but I think that's
Was it very smelly or no?
not not terrible, but somewhat smelly. And yeah, that's the one that I buried in it, um, and it hatched, so to speak. And I almost forgot. I went back quite late and discovered that it had actually hatched. But uh,
Oh,
yeah,
so that's like a new location with the egg.
yeah,
Yeah, nice.
yeah, yeah. I lugged one of those eggs home, so it was fun.
Very fun. This is a new species for me.
Yeah, it used to be called something else. If you scroll down, maybe you can see the name. Yeah, yeah, I called it Mutinous elegans at first. I was wrong, but yeah, Phallus rugulosus.
Oh, okay.
But that's had a taxon change.
Nice.
Huh. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, just I love that color of the stipe and it's almost like it's glowing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
those kind of stinkhorns usually they don't seem to really smell that much. It's those squiddy ones, man, they really,
Really smell.
oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, I think the kind Lila found they smell like paste to me.
Yeah, I'll have to take better notes next year. Hopefully I'll find them again. But so this one I put in because I have been kind of on the outlook for these things. This little Xylaria coming out of the sweet gum burrs, and how many sweet gum burrs are you going to pick up and look at? And this was on one of our forays, and I was delighted because it was only after picking up a couple that I actually found it. So I think this was the first time, perhaps, that I found this particular fungus. So it was fun, and for that reason, I included it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's very
Brandon was
cool.
the one that showed these first, and I was like, oh man, that's amazing. And then I looked in every patch and found none. But
Yeah,
then the weird thing is when you do find one, you look around and every single one of them seems to have it.
yeah, yeah. but go to a different patch of the woods or whatever, and then nothing. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, so I thought that was interesting. It was fun to finally cross that one off the list, so to speak. So
Yeah, that's a great.
Xylaria liquidambaris. The liquidambar is I think that's the genus name for the sweet gum tree.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes, I think another foray find. Um, Boletus auripes, and just gorgeous color. Some of them are pretty big. You can see the real fine reticulation up at the top. The pores are also um, what we call stuffed. They sort of have this, when they're young, this kind of covering over them. I'm not really sure what that's all about. These were pretty
Ooh,
infected with the fungus gnats larvae.
that one looks like it could walk away.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful.
Well, they think it's tasty. Are they supposed to be good?
Oh, this is excellent. And you can see the unusual feature of this bolete, which is a plesiomorphic character. It appears in species that are not even closely related. A layer of cavacistidia covering the pores. That's a trademark of all the porcini mushrooms. But like I said, this feature is a plesiomorphic trait. It doesn't appear exclusively in porcini. It can also appear in other boletes, and this is one of the other examples of that. But Boletus auripes is not a Boletus. It's going to be transferred to a new genus called Tangioboletus, originally described from China a few years ago. But that genus sits together with Boletus in Boletoideae, the subfamily. So they are relatively closely related, but albeit they're separate genera. So it's a wonderful edible, and we may have another species that's in that genus, and that species is, I think, exclusively southern in distribution. It's called Aurantia splendens.
Aurantia splendens.
Yeah, it was a species described by Timothy Baroni in the late 90s, I think.
Okay. So is this one going to keep the auripes epithet?
Yes,
Well,
I think
okay.
so. I mean, we still need to sequence Peck's type specimen, but I'm not sure who is going to do this. It's going to be expensive and labor intensive, considering its age, which is over 100 years.
Yeah. Do we know where it is? Is it in Albany?
It's in Albany. It's in NYS. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remembered a third species that's going to be in Boletus. It's a bolete that was described by Merle from Florida. It's called the Oresimus, like Oreo, yellow. So it's like a portmanteau between Nobilissimus and Auripes or something. I don't know. Whatever. So we have 3 species in that genus apparently, and it's still a small genus, even when you add a couple of species from China. Yeah, it's a very distinct bolete, and it does suggest that it doesn't look like anything else. It suggests a new genus. But look for that layer of cholecystidea when you find a species. It's not very common in New Jersey, but we do find this from time to time
It reminds
here
me
and there.
of ornithopes.
Matterpiece.
Kind of, but and it eventually it resembles even more when the caps turn from brown, chocolate brown, like you see here, to more of a yellow color. They do fade away, and then it looks really more like Boletus or Natipes,
Yeah.
which is also not a single species. We have at least 2 candidates for Ornithopes
Oh, wow. Okay.
genetically.
They're pretty.
Yeah, I think we found this at last year at one last comment about auripes. What's that for a Helmeta and Thompson Park.
Yeah, there were some yellow ones found there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike Haynes took it home to eat because it was his collection.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm not where I found that one. I'd have to go back and look at my observation, but this I found walking distance from my house. And it used to be called Buglossoporus quercinus, and I first found it in 2020, thanks to Luke sharing an observation. And I'm like, oh, wait, I've seen that before. And at the time, it was pretty new thing to be finding. Now there's been lots of them, but I think when he first talked about it in 2020, maybe there were 10 or 15 of them on INAT, and there's hundreds of probably now. But it's quite rare in the UK because there it grows on really only ancient standing oaks, I believe. And here I've only ever found it on this downed, decorticated oak logs. And it can grow to be really quite large. And I think one of the observations, it was about 25 centimeters across,
Wait,
way bigger than my hand. And it's polypore, but it's bitter, so it's very soft and, well, not super soft, but it's tender when it's fresh, but it's bitter.
it's like it's strange looking. It's like it was one color and then like some like watercolors and then somebody dubbed something on it.
Yeah, the color is kind of interesting, but it's generally this golden brown, white near the base there. You can see it's white there, and it's very pale on the underside, almost white. And it will bruise slowly, kind of a light brown.
When did you find that? I remember you showed it sometime
Yeah, July,
in July.
late June into July. Maybe you might find out into August, but usually around the end of June and early July. Also, yeah, it was back in 2020. It was quite interesting. Tom Bigelow, who was at the time the president of the New York Club, he came out and he heard about it. He contacted me and wanted to see one because I don't think he had seen one in person. So he came out and I took him to where I had found the one in 2020. And of course, that was a big deal, right? The height of COVID and everything. So
Neat.
yeah. So that was fun. And I put a second observation in. It has more pictures. You can see some of the the staining if you go on to the next one. But yeah, so it changed names. So yeah. There you can see it's a darker color on top. Those are my feet, so you can see how big it is. And it grew around the stick. I pulled the stick out. You can see the flesh. It slowly turns this kind of reddish brown. And damaged. That's the underside. This one
Oh,
was
wow.
getting some bug activity in it. Very small pores, angular. And yeah.
Gotta sign that one. What do
Yeah.
these VU stand for?
Vulnerable, I think. They assess it as vulnerable because I think that's really based on the UK situation because they're losing all of these like 500-year-old oaks. There's no like 300- and 400-year-old oaks to eventually age in to support it over there. So I think it may disappear, I guess, over there because of loss of the right substrate.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a
But it always pleases me to see it. And it's very consistently found on those kinds of, you know, oak logs that have been down in the woods for decades, really. I think some of them have been around for decades.
hmm.
And this little beauty was found with Hunter when she came out, when we went out after the foray the next day. We went to a couple of places and uh, this was just gorgeous. I think Dave might think it is something else. We talked about it at one point, but I don't.
Need to see it close up.
Yeah,
Flammulaster erinaceellus has triangular bands of velar material along the margin, and this appears to have that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the big, showy scales, so I think this is right.
Okay.
The species that's easily confused with this is, well, at least it used to be Pholiota granulosum or granulosa. I think it's granulosum. Somebody at one of the big forays this past summer, nymph or Nama, which one I forget, told me that um, Pholiota granulosum is that that name is now deprecated. It's now some sort of other Flammulaster, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that. But this looks like Flammulaster erinaceellus.
So we found this one by being attracted over to a big flush of jacks. So we tromped off the trail. Do you remember, Hunter? And went over to look at the jacks. And on the way there, I spotted these growing on a log. And that's how it usually happens. You see something big and flashy, and then you start looking and you see something else smaller that is even more interesting.
They're wild. The smaller ones, they remind me of like the fluffy balls on the elm trees. And they're
Or
just
the
so
more little balls.
Yeah, the sycamores, yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. So I think this is the only time I've ever found this as well. Yeah.
What was that? The Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's a nice shot. So the concerns about the invasiveness of this are I mean, is it a rapid decomposer? Does anyone know?
Uh, I don't know. There was a while a few years ago where we it seemed like we were seeing copelandii a lot, but I don't feel like I see it that much. And certainly I've never before this observation really seen it looking like this. So it may be totally wrong what name I put on it, but um, I think I ended up with this name after looking at some of Maricel's observations, and she had one or two maybe that looked like this.
Could we get a close up on this? I want to see if it has the patch of tissue, expanding patch of tissue under that it's growing from. Hmm.
Where are you looking?
Down in
Like
between the,
this?
Right there you can see,
yeah.
what are they called? Subiculum, I think
Yeah.
Michael Quo called it.
But reading his description, I think he said it was unbranched, and you can see right there in the middle that this stuff is branching.
Well, you know what? They originally it was thought that Radulomyces copelandii. I remember now. I forgot a little while ago, but originally it was thought that Radulomyces copelandii had unbranched spines, but then that was changed. I
Mm.
believe now it is um, can have branched or unbranched spines. Let me see what Michael Quebec says.
I just don't think I've ever seen one of these. Are they host specific? Do they prefer one
I
thing or
think
another?
I think they grow on all kinds of wood.
Yeah, a lot of different species, but I probably favor hardwood, maybe.
Not sure. I'm going to look now on Michael Quebec.
Yeah, it was definitely a new one for me this year, and I don't think I've seen it since.
I think this species was first found in Massachusetts in like maybe 10 or between 10 and 15 years ago. So it probably showed up first in the east, and it's probably spreading from east to west. So it might not be as common out in the Midwest.
Makes
Cool.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go back next year and save some of it and see if we can get it barcoded
that would be great.
if I can find it again.
Good finds. But anybody else? Did you want to go, Shion?
Let me try to see if I know how to share my iPhone first.
Michael Quebec says Radulomyces copelandii, the spines are unbranched. And what you're showing there, Hunter and Lila, there's a lot of branching on those.
Yeah.
But I think I've seen descriptions that say it could be branched also, so I'm not sure.
It was a very dry period too, so I wonder if they could kind of like branches could like, I mean, what might have been clusters of more icicle straight spines turned left and right in all different directions, maybe to find moisture or something, or just from the sun. I don't know.
Oh, some like geo orientation type of thing.
Yeah, the growing on the top of the log was really unusual for that. So anyway, let's move on to what Shihong's got.
Um, I was here before, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you see my
there it
screen?
is.
Yes, beautiful.
Okay, so the end of December, I went to Arizona, so in the desert. So, but this is on the lawn in the hotel. This is the only mushroom I saw there. They are partly white, and let me see the next screen. So this is the bottom. The size-wise, it's smaller than a coin, a penny. I mean, my immediate thought is this look like a mycelium, but I put it in that. It doesn't give me mycelium. I forgot what it gave me, so I just decided it may be. I have no idea what it is.
Leucocoprinus, maybe? Let me
Lu-
look.
Yeah,
So were you in like, is this a manicured?
this is a manicured law.
Yeah, and heavily watered. It looks
That's
like.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. Where were you? Was it Scottsdale or something?
this is Tucson.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. So you were there in December and the season's pretty much over there by then, I guess, huh? Nothing.
I don't even know what's the season for mushroom in the desert.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I think you have to get up into the mountains if you want to see anything, and then during the summer in Arizona.
that's right. So I wasn't there for mushroom. Um, Another interesting thing is I went to this national park, petrified forest, lots of petrified logs. So I was paying attention that could any mushroom be petrified if they're mushroom at that time, but I did not see any sign of that.
Man, I don't know if a mushroom could be, but
Petrified?
I mean, I wonder if you'd be able to look at a log and see if it had some sort of damage.
Yeah, I have no idea. I was just wondering, but I paid attention. I did not see any.
You always
My
saw evidence of decomposition that was petrified, though, I would think.
So I mean, if the wood could be, I mean, the molecule of a wood could be replaced by inorganic things. I wonder could that happen to mushroom? But I did not see any sign of that.
Sounds like a fun trip, though.
Yeah, I think I would be interested if anybody pay attention and find anything. I mean, I never see a fossil with mushroom on that. You see all kind of sea, I mean, bugs or fish. I never see anything with mushroom. I said, anything could be fossilized, right?
You would think.
I don't
Yeah.
know. The mushrooms are a bit soft, I think, for fossilization.
Okay. Too soft for that.
I listened to a podcast with my wife about petrified wood.
Okay.
And some guy was talking to me and felt bad because he stole a piece. And he brought it back to the park, which I guess something that people do. And they just were like, oh, thanks for the rock back. And they just throw it in a pile. Yeah, because if you take petrified wood, you get
Yeah,
cursed or something.
that's right. It disappear. Yeah, that's the only thing I want to share because I wasn't prepared to share anything today. Let me see how I stop this.
Yeah, I remember hearing a talk about these. Oh, never mind. Actually, it was, I think, armillaria and trees that were like buried in dunes. And I don't know if you've ever heard of people like falling into these pits and dunes, and like little kids. That happened in the Midwest a couple times. And they think it was where these trees that had been basically decomposed by armillaria, I believe, were once standing. And so there's these like chutes in the sand where these decayed trees had been.
Yeah,
Uh,
we just saw a documentary not long ago about that. What were we watching about the sinkholes in the desert? And they think they were where trees were.
I don't know what the show it was.
Yeah.
That's what caused it.
Yeah, the trees that decomposed and they were covered in the sand and left a void. When the tree decomposed, it was replaced by a void. And then if you walk on the sand where this void is, you can just get sucked right into it.
That sounds
Wow.
yeah,
awful.
and I think it was there's armillaria was what was breaking them down, at least in the Midwest.
It's a nice time to see all of the rhizomes from the armillaria this time of year, with
Oh
no,
yeah.
when you're not seeing much anything else in those weird spots where the bark comes off a tree or whatever, you could see it all spidered up through there.
Yeah, it's really neat to see.
You mean there's a trail like left by worms? It's armillaria.
No, they look like like black roots or something,
Yeah. That's
almost
what
like
Like
I'm
a
a
talking.
net. Looks
shoelacy.
like a black net
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's stuck to the wood.
Okay. And that's armillaria mycenia.
It's the rhizomorphs,
Ah, okay.
or rhizomorphs. I guess those are the same.
Okay. So is that particular hardwood or any kind of hardwood?
Well, there's different species of armillaria. Some prefer hardwood, some prefer conifer, but I think where the times I've seen the shoestrings, the netted nets of shoestrings on the wood, I think it's mainly been hardwood.
Okay. I will pay more attention next time I go for a hike.
Yeah, they definitely like oak.
Yeah, I usually see them in that, and especially like if there's a tree and there's like chunks of bark missing, those are usually because all those things will be right under that layer.
Yeah, and oak wood doesn't deteriorate very quickly, um, so you see it on oak. pretty commonly because the bark will fall off and the wood doesn't really deteriorate all that quickly. So those rhizomorphs just stay plastered on it.
Thank you, Shi-Hung.
I've seen those rhizomorphs also on ash trees. All the ashes are dying and coming
Ash,
down.
yeah. Yeah, and the wood, the bark falls off the ash trees
Yeah.
soon after they die. Yep.
Yeah.
Within a few years, let's say.
Mhm.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any to share? Some favorites from the year?
I can put one into the chat. Let me see.
I can share one too.
Nice.
Was that Igor? Was that you?
Yes, that's me, Dave.
Do you want to go first, and then I'll put mine into the chat, or
Yeah, I mean it's up to you. I mean,
all
if you're
right.
not ready.
Oh, I can put it right in.
Oh yeah, go ahead then.
I'll put it right in. I'll just put this link into the chat.
Because I'm going to share my screen instead.
Yeah, and the host can just click on the link. Who's that? Chris is the host, right? Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool thing here. Sowerbyella PA01. Nothing matches this that I know of, and nobody else seems to know either. The closest Sowerbyella
Whoa.
is something that there's one that's found in North America, and it looks a little bit like this, but it has spores that are much bigger, and the DNA is not. It's not even close. The closest match on GenBank for this stuff is something that was recently described from the French Alps. I mean, within like the last 5 to 10 years, and I'm not sure it's been named yet. But it's not. But it's not. But it's not that close. It's like the ITS identity similarity is only in the 80s. It's like 88%, and that's the
Wow.
closest thing. And
Wow.
this is a Sowerbyella. You know, it's the only things that showed up on the as any kind of reasonable matches on a blast in GenBank were Sowerbyella, and the spores match Sowerbyella also. They're just very small for Sowerbyella. When I say very small, I think 12 or 13 microns long, 15 microns long maybe, but the thing that looks a little bit like this has, I believe, spores that are like 18 to 22 microns long, so it wasn't even really close. And I've gathered this species several times. It grows on my property. For 2 years in a row, it's grown on my property. And in some leaf litter that I pile up after I rake leaves in the yard. And I think it might the fact that this showed up in the spot might have something to do with that we dump our wood ash in this spot once in a while. Not really all that often. We have a spot where we usually dump the wood ash from our wood burner in our living room. So it's all hardwood ash. But a few times it got dumped in this spot. And some ASCOs seem to like areas where the pH is kind of high. So dumping wood ash would help raise the pH. So you can see what it's fruiting. It's these long stalk-like things are embedded pretty deeply in this leaf litter. And it's the same spot 2 years in a row. And there were several fruitings each year over the course of about 2 to 3 weeks, I guess. That's
I
a
just
pretty
don't
cool
know
one.
if I've ever seen, cups with big stipes on them.
Yeah, that kind of sets these things apart. Yeah.
There's a few, but can we see the range on this? I would love to see it. Where's it been reported?
This species,
Yeah,
This,
or
this particular one in my yard. That's the only place.
only place. Okay, what
That's
about other
the
sourdoughs?
um. Gee, I don't know.
I think they're all in your yard.
Yeah, I think there's some that grow in moss. I don't know. You know what? I would. There's a couple of species that are show up in field guides and so forth. You know what? I think I might have my ASCO book right here. Oh, I do. Yeah. So let me look up the Sowerbyella, the one that's supposedly common, but it's not. None of them are common.
How
The
do you spell
genus
that
is
sour? Is that SAU or SOU?
Sowerbyella.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so Sowerby was a mycologist, I think a European mycologist. So it's named for Sowerby.
Yeah, whenever you show these, I'm always like, oh, I love those. I want to find those.
Yeah, these are really cool. So Sowerbyella rayanana is the one that's kind of similar. 256. At least it looks kind of similar. Let's see where that thing grows. I think it might grow in moss, and this is definitely not moss. Okay, here's Sowerbyella rhianana. And the spores of this thing are, like I said, large, 18 to 26 microns long. These spores were under 15 microns. Most of them are like 13 or 14, I think. So right off the bat, I kind of knew I had something interesting. Um, okay, occurrence for Sowerbyella rhianana, typically clustered or in groups on soil or among mosses in woodlands, usually associated with conifers. Summer and fall also fall and early winter in California. Widely distributed in North America, uncommon. Okay, and that's actually the common one, is this Sowerbyella rhianana. There's one other Sowerbyella, it looks like it's in this book, or it might be a former Sowerbyella. Oh, Sowerbyella radiculata. And that one has spores that are more in line with the spores from these orange cups that I found, but they don't look the same. The fruit bodies don't look the same. And solitary to clustered in coniferous forests, summer and late fall, eastern North America and Europe. Okay, so that's Sowerbyella radiculata. And but those they look a fair amount different than these things. But at any rate, there are Sowerbyella sequences in GenBank, and none of them matched up very well with this. So I'm hoping one more year they'll come out. They come out in late May, like May 25th, and they keep growing until maybe the second week in June or maybe a little later. So it's very
No.
interesting.
Very cool. Like that.
How big are the heads on these? Like when they're just, they're sitting on beams.
Between the size of a penny and a quarter, let's say.
Oh,
Yeah, the quarter that might be stretching it a little bit.
not
Is there a
microscopic.
photo here with a penny or something? I have a bunch of observations of these. Maybe I didn't size. I don't think I.
There
Oh,
you
there
go.
we are. There you go. So the bigger one here looks like it's maybe the size of a quarter,
Hmm.
and the smallest one is a little smaller than a penny. Um, just the diameter from edge to edge. So
That's some weird stuff.
that's a weird one. Yeah, yes, indeed.
Nice. Thanks.
Sure.
How about you, Igor? What'd you have there?
Okay, I'm gonna share that probably. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
So,
one.
yeah, so this mushroom, I'm pretty sure that none of you are familiar with this personally because, to my knowledge, this is the first ever collection from New Jersey. On the Mo, there are maybe about 70 to 80 observations of this species, but they're all from areas below the Mason-Dixon line. And in my experience, the Mason-Dixon line is not just a geographical feature, also a historical feature. For fungi, it has a lot of importance too. It seems to be like a clear-cut cutoff line for many taxa, that they wouldn't grow either south of the Mason-Dixon line or north of the Mason-Dixon line. So this thing is, this bolete is almost exclusively southern distribution. Okay, like I said, on the Mo, there are no collections north of Maryland, and if you look for this thing on INET, there are some collections allegedly from north of the line, a couple from New Jersey, but I have to look at them carefully and see what they are, because I think people are maybe confusing this bolete with something else. Now, Boletus curtisii was described by Berkeley in 1853. And I had to read about Berkeley because I didn't know much about him, although the name is familiar. So apparently Berkeley, who was a 19th century mycologist and cryptogamist overall, he was also a man of the cloth. And he was British, although he traveled to as far as Australia. But he had a long-standing collaboration with an American botanist by the name of Moses Ashley Curtis. And they collaborated for a very long time, according to Wikipedia or AI, for decades. And what Curtis did, he collected specimens and Berkeley described them. So Berkeley described this bolete, and he honored Curtis by making an epithet out of his last name for this critter. So you can see this is a fairly small mushroom. Has a very slender stipe. It's overall yellow. The cap is yellow and the stipe is yellow, maybe slightly lighter. The cap is always sticky and the stipe is sticky as well. You can see dirt and other things clinging to the surfaces of these fruiting bodies. Do you see them enlarged? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The pores are, I think, originally when the fruit bodies are young, they're kind of whitish, and then they assume this sort of, dingy yellow appearance, and the pores are circular to elongated. Overall, when I'm looking at this mushroom, it gives me an impression of a tropical mushroom. Tropical boletes have a certain look about them, unlike temperate boletes. And I cannot quite put a finger on this, but there's something special to them in appearance. So Berkeley described this in 1853, and it's a funny thing about Berkeley. I remember a lecture that Roy Holland gave many years ago about Australian boletes. And one bolete that's now called Boletellus ananiceps, referring to the cap looking like a pineapple surface, very similar to Boletellus ananas, which is from Eastern North America. And Berkeley described that bolete, ananiceps, from Victoria, Australia, in 9 words, 9 or 10 word description in Latin. Okay, so this is, I ridicule Peck for writing a very short description of boletes and confusing us all, but Berkeley's description of ananiceps takes the cake. And I remember Roy saying, "Come on, Miles, you can do better than that," and that was very funny. Anyway, so Berkeley described boletes from all over the world, including North America. So, like I said, I say this collection, even though this is a well-known and well-understood bolete, I say this collection because, to my knowledge, this is the first one from New Jersey.
It's how do you say it?
Fistunella?
With the
Well, the new name that I proposed as a provisional name is Fistulinella, and that's based on the DNA sequencing of a collection from North Carolina. I got a TEF1 data, and that one put it in Fistulinella sensuato. You see, Fistulinella is not a monophyletic genus. I think it's polyphyletic. And Fistulinella sensu stricto is yet to be described or circumscribed more carefully. But the current name that you'll see in the literature, in say Mycobank or Index fungorum is Boletus curtisii, and that genus is definitely wrong for this bolete. Boletus Rovinellii would probably be the type species for that genus, and that bolete, is also tropical, looks tropical, also yellow, but has a very powdery cap surface, and it also has a partial veil that stretches all the way from the bottom of the stipe. That's also powdery. It breaks apart and exposes the yellow pores, and it stains blue. This thing doesn't stain blue, by the way. So Boletus is not the correct generic placement for this bolete. Fistulinella is a better name, but it's not the final name. But I think it's going to be the one that's going to be featured when Colin Damnauer is going to publish his opus on the North American Boletaceae.
Yay. You don't have in situ. Oh, look at the in situ of this, do you?
No, this was collected by Nicole Engel, and she just brought it in. And there were many boletes at Horseshoe Bend Park last year. And finally, I got to this one. I'm like, I know what this is. It's not a difficult bolete to ID, even though I've never seen the species in the flesh myself. But I've seen plenty of collections from southern and southeastern USA. And like I said, it's a very easy bolete to ID from the way it appears. So I readily put a name on it, but I've never seen it myself or held in my hand. So I thought that was a cool find. And I think it's pretty much tells you the story that as our planet gets warmer, southern boletes begin to conquer more land up north. So this one spilled over the Mason-Dixon line, and this tropical bolete essentially became a sort of both tropical and temperate bolete. Anyway, so that's my kind of a long and roundabout story about Fistulinella curtisii and the people behind it, people who described it.
For that.
Very, very old species. Yeah, Berkeley lived to be a very old man, and Curtis was also a clergyman, and I think that's why they probably collaborated. That's my understanding. Maybe not. I mean, Curtis was a botanist before he was a mycologist. But Curtis lived 66 years old, and Berkeley 86. So
you don't see a whole lot of boletes with that, small spindly stipe. Like, it's not just a small bolete. It's weird proportionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit graceful. It has a stipe that sort of tapers down a little bit because the apex is wider than the stipe base. But there's also something going on at the very base of the stipe, whether this is just a clump of dirt or maybe there's a slight bulb in there. I haven't figured this out. But maybe this particular proportions of the stipe are not typical of the species. It may vary slightly. This type could be equal. But yeah, it's a very neat, very easy to ID bolete. Once you see it, you will not confuse it with anything else.
So you mentioned Pulvera Boletus ravenellii. That grows around where I live. It's not common, but I do find it some years.
Yeah, and we find this too, mostly I think in the Pine Barrens of all places.
The ravenellii.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I find mine usually where there's hemlock or maybe some white pines.
Yeah, it could be, I don't know. I mean, it's probably oak associated, or could be straddling multiple tree species. Who knows? But I remember distinctly collecting this at Franklin Parker, in 2011 when Walt Sturgeon was visiting with us, and we took him there. But I think I've seen it, at least one more time in the Pine Barrens since then.
Yeah, come to think of it, I haven't seen it around here in really a number of years, maybe 8 years or more.
Yeah, it's not a common species. I don't think we find it every year in at our forays. Maybe once every 5 years, something like that. John Burkhardt would be the person to ask. He has the records, so he can check his spreadsheets and databases for that. Yeah, I'm gonna check out later other observations above the Mason-Dixon line. What they look like. It's possible that it's growing north of where I found this in New Jersey, but I'm kind of skeptical about it. Maybe it's confused with some Swillus or something else. Who knows? But like I said, this is mostly southeastern, southern distribution. But I've seen observations of this on INET from Ohio and Indiana, but southern portions of those states. One in no, a few in Pennsylvania. I have to check them out. Anyway, so it's pretty rare in at our latitude, I think. So I'm looking at a collection from northern New Jersey, High Point State Park, and I think it's a misidentification. They call it Curtisii. I think it's a Swillus sabarius. I'm pretty sure of it.
Oh yeah, I could see how someone could mistaken that for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to see a lot of these misidentifications for observations above the southern Pennsylvania border, the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, and so I mean the pores are regular on this one. They're
Pores are irregular. I think originally when the mushrooms are young, they're more rotund, they're more round. But I think as the cap stretches out, they do look sort of more elongated, and I think they have a I don't know, at least closer to the stipe. The arrangement, I would not call it radial. Maybe it's just an appearance, but there's something special about the pore surface too. Not just the color, but the shape and arrangement of the pores. Maybe the ones closer to the cap edge are still round, but the ones closer to the stipe, you can clearly see they are elongated. They're stretching.
yeah. Is there a good book on mycologists of old?
Yes, there's a good book. It's our newsletter. John Dawson published biographies of many, many, many mycologists of note, and I think his series is called "Who's in the Name."
Okay, so just look in the archives.
Yes,
Great.
just I think he published the last biographical sketch in the last issue of NJMA News, and I
Okay.
think he's done.
Yeah, he
So
is. He is. He said he ran out of examples.
Right.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure he covered both Curtis and Berkeley. It's
great.
got to,
So
because
I love learning about the mycologists of old. I love it.
yeah. So remember Miles Berkeley, 9 words for a description in Latin. That was good enough to publish in 1872. Eat your heart out, Charles Peck.
Yeah, you got to stop ranking on Peck for that. Do you know what those 9 words are? Do you have that handy?
I can look it up. Let's see. Boletus ananiceps. I can unshare that screen and share another screen. Come on, Miles. You can do better than that. Let me unshare and see if I can share the other one. Yeah, I think I can. All right, just have to find the right tab for it. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Here we go. Boletus ananiceps. Paleoconvexo invericus plines crassus. Amplus ruptu flocoso squamoso. That's it. 9 words.
Nice.
I think a lot of his descriptions on this page are about that long. So this is from 1872.
Just, I mean, that's not very taxonomic.
No. Yeah, so Peck's descriptions are far superior to that. Peck's description is probably like a short paragraph, maybe like, 3 or 4 lines, sometimes more.
Yeah, and Peck will tell you things like found in woods.
Yeah, found in the woods. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I
Like
mean,
descriptions.
yeah, it's different than found in lawn, I guess.
sometimes he
Yeah,
would say like a town's name. I think he mostly collected in upstate New York, so he would give like Sand Lake or whatever,
yeah, he would give locations. Yep.
location, but it's still very sort of not precise, because maybe the way they defined towns, or how would you call this? The boundaries of those locations got changed over time. Maybe they expanded, they got bigger. So yeah, if you want to collect something at the locus typicus at the type location, you probably would not be able to find exactly where that thing was found, because maybe those woods no longer exist. They've been cut down and somebody put a data center in there.
Yeah, great. Just what we need, a data center.
Yep, that's right. So that's it. That's my story on Fistulinella curtisii.
Good one.
Nice,
Yeah,
thank you.
I was like, my God, this is so rare in New Jersey. We've never seen this before anywhere. I mean, I've been with NGMA for 20 years, and I've seen all sorts of boletes, including some pretty rare ones, but not this one.
Neat find. Yeah, Nicole finds a lot of good stuff. She spends a lot of time in the woods, so helps.
Yeah, and Horseshoe Bend Park is not one of my favorite locations. I'm not really fond of that place. If a year is not so good, that place is like there's just nothing there. And the woods there are kind of lacking in oak. There are other trees in there, but oak is not a major species. Very, very few oaks. But in a good year, when there's plenty of rain, we find quite a bit of mushrooms in there, including some of the unusual ones. We found a number of unusual Amanitas in there. I also remember finding, not myself, but somebody brought in a strange Russula, and I got it sequenced, and there's nothing closer than 85% anywhere in GenBank.
Wow.
Cool.
So yeah, so apparently that place, can harbor some unusual and rare species.
You got to watch the poison ivy over there. I got it.
Yeah.
Terrible.
You got a terrible rash?
Oh man, I still have that. Oh yeah, yeah, the marks are still there.
Yeah, it
And
takes a
that
long time for
that
the scars to
foray is
heal.
like that's an early one too.
Yeah, usually we go there in July.
God, it's been god awful hot there some years.
Yeah, I mean that the place where I defunged it is like almost no shade.
Yeah.
And the sun quickly moves out of that scanty canopy that's on one side of the parking lot, and then you're completely exposed to the sun. And I convinced Sue McClary to bring our canopy last year, and we did pretty well.
Yeah.
We protected the mushrooms, and we, kept a little bit cooler if you step into the shade of the canopy.
Yeah, that's good.
Were you there live last year?
No, I didn't go to that one this year. Or in 25.
25, yeah.
Yeah. I've been the last few years before that.
Nice.
So yeah, you probably keep that location because it's in Hunterdon County, and I think we dropped Teetertown Ravine from our schedule last year, and I think Hunterdon County could be just a pain in the neck for some reason with collecting. I think they require we have to list them like as an additional insured or something, or maybe it was just related to Teetertown Ravine as a location, like that particular township in Hunterdon County.
Yeah.
But the consensus was that we don't want to have forays in there, that many forays. So Kingwood Township, that's where